So, Superfan, the feature-length documentary, covers the entire Spice story with the release of their debut single, which you've just heard, Wannabe. That was in 1996, July. Alex Lodge, Superfan, joins me now. Morning to you, Alex.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm all right. So, I bet you're thrilled that we're doing this tribute to the Spice Girls.
Oh yeah, it's about time the legacy got paid tribute to.
Well, they were not just a musical group. They were so good for girls as well, to bring in this girl power.
Oh yeah, 100%. In 1990, like in the mid-90s, they were basically told, oh, it's all about boy bands. You know, you had NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, all on the cover of magazines, and they were basically told girl bands weren't able to sell. They literally, you know, wore the trousers. They stormed into record companies saying, look, this is who we are. You're going to give us the money. You're going to market us. And it worked.
Which was amazing at the time, really, because as you say, girls were, and I was around at that time and had got fed up with record deals and all that, and sort of left that and gone into musical side, because the whole thing was, oh, you've got to look in a certain way, you've got to do certain things. You know, audiences don't like girls as much as boys, whereas they just knocked that down with a hammer.
Oh yeah, they completely bulldozed it. Literally, they were told, originally they were in a group where they were told what to wear, what to sing, and then they thought, nah, not about this, not going to do this. And they realised, okay, Emma, you look good in a baby doll dress. Victoria, you look good in your black dress.
Yeah.
Mel C, you look good in your tracksuit. Let's just keep like this, and hopefully girls and, you know, a wider audience and everyone in between will take notice. And they did, and they changed things.
They changed things. So what was about their music as well that made them so influential? Because I think they'd probably all admit, apart from sort of Mel C, I think that, you know, the voices weren't the strongest in the world, but my God, together they sounded amazing.
Oh, they were a force to be reckoned with, all five of them together. Five of them, they can sing, but they're all like different, like vocal things. Some are off better singing like the low bits, the harmonies, the softer parts. Something like Mel C, she can belt. But like together, they wrote every song they wrote together. Like it's often like everyone says, oh no, they don't write the music, but they wrote every single song together in a studio with the producers. Everyone contributed, but the music overall, it was just at a time when pop music was so boring and bland. The Spice Girls came in and put like this big platform, you know, they were this big five-headed platform-wearing monster, and just kind of took over. They just took over, and it was just in your face, fun, carefree pop music.
You're absolutely right, because when you got the 60s, you got the massive sort of Beatles takeover and the Liverpudlian scene. In the 70s, I mean, we had the Flares, we've talked about that. In the 80s, you had the amazing music and the shoulder pads and stuff. And the 90s was sort of really nothing in 90s until they hit.
Yeah, you had kind of like Britpop, which was obviously great, but it was all like male dominated, like heavily male dominated. And then obviously you had like Bananarama, they were coming, you know, to an end as the original three-piece.
Yep.
And then it was just kind of like, you know, tumbleweed rolling across, like, where are the girls? Well, obviously you had like Madonna and Kylie and all that, but there was no like predominant girl band.
No.
And then you had these five normal girls from different walks of life coming together, and it was just kind of like, oh, this is interesting.
They were just so in your face. And now, tell me about this film. So how did you go about doing it, and what's it all about?
Basically, it's I was sat at home and I was just like, okay, July is the 20th anniversary of Wannabe, and they're not celebrating. At the time, they weren't celebrated anyway, and nothing was announced. And I was just like, okay, I'm going to take both of my passions into account, making films and the Spice Girls, because obviously I've liked them since since birth. I was born in 1996, and I've just loved them all my life. And yeah, I made this film. It started off with like a little 20-minute tribute video, talking about, well, obviously not talking about it. It used like archive footage, interviews we've all seen before, and some kind of rare stuff as well that I've managed to get hold of. And it's basically just a lot of editing, taking every interview they've done and putting it in chronological order, so it's their story and their words.
Wow.
And looking over like the years that aren't documented as much. So they did a third album that some people glaze over, but it was actually really interesting because it was all like R&B. They worked with like Jimmy Jam and Dark Child, like a lot of like R&B American producers, like they flew over to America to record most of it, and looking at their solo careers and stuff, and obviously when they got back together in 2007 for the tour and the Olympics, of course, which was brilliant. And then it kind of says, oh, what could the future hold towards the end?
Right.
And it's basically just like an hour and 20 minutes of, it was a passion project for me, and it's just a real, you know, it tells the legacy in my opinion perfectly. Obviously, it's a bit biased because I made the film, but
Have they got involved at all? Have you ever met them? Do they know about this?
oh yeah, I've met all of them apart from Mel B through this, and then I actually went to Jerry's house, and Jerry's seen it. They've all seen it apart from Victoria, but she knows about it.
What did they say? Were they pleased that somebody had actually taken the time and trouble to document all this?
Oh, they were thrilled. On the day of release, literally 2 hours after I put the link up, Mel B responded to me saying, oh my God, I cried my eyes out watching this, thank you so much. And I was like, oh, the fact that she actually sat down and watched the whole thing was, you know, was pretty mind-blowing. And then Emma responded saying, oh, thank you so much, it was brilliant. And it's kind of it was a bit like, okay, they've actually sat and watched it. That's insane.
That's incredible to have. What was Jerry's house like, Alex?
I didn't go into the house. It was like a rule. I was just like, I don't know if I can go into the house or not. I was just kind of on a porch talking to her.
Right.
And she was lovely, absolutely lovely.
And she's a nice person as well.
Oh, genuinely lovely.
Why did they make such an impact as well across the gay and LGBT? Why were they so adopted? Because they still are to this day. Why do you think that is?
Yeah. Well, I'm just going off my experiences. I'm gay. I'm part of the LGBT community, and there were just like every other Queen, you have Madonna, Kylie, and all these big personalities share. They were all basically these larger-than-life characters that weren't afraid to stand out. And at a time when everyone was like fitting in, blended into this little mold, they completely shattered that mold, obliterated that mold, and they told people, you can do anything that you want. You can do absolutely anything and be whoever you want to be, no matter what age, sexuality, gender. And obviously, they had the mantra girl power, which isn't as relevant for me as it is for other people. But it was basically like embracing not just femininity, but accepting that the world needs equality, basically. That they're all about equalization between both men and female and everyone in between. And yeah, I just think they were so larger than life. It was kind of like, okay, you've got these 5 brave women, determined, strong women with ambition and drive. And, obviously, a lot of people at the time were probably closeted and thought, oh, if they've got the bravery to go out and take over the world from nothing, I could do that too. And, it's something quite strong.
I can hear. I can remember at the time, because I have nieces and friends of the sort of same age. I'm a bit older than them. As we've heard, Old Spice, someone's called me.
You're not old. You're not old.
Bless your heart. Thank you for that. I'll write that down. Not Old Spice. But what they did was they fought their corner, but they didn't fight it. Sometimes people fight their corner, and I always say to people really carefully, you have to fight. You have to choose your fights, because otherwise you become boring and you become moralistic, and you've just got to fight your corner well, and then people will go with you and say, you know what, they're doing really well there. They're fighting for girls. They're fighting, but actually it's funny. They're not hurting anyone. They're not ramming it down our throats. They're just living their lives the way they want to live it, and saying to anyone else, you can live your life the way you want to live it. As long as you don't hurt anyone in this world, just go and have fun. And they certainly have done that.
Oh, exactly. 100%.
Thank you so much for joining us. I'm fascinated. I've got to go away and watch this film now. How can we see it? How can we go and check it out, Alex?
Go check it out. It's on my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/It's Alex Lodge. I've got loads of other stuff on there as well, but mainly that's the That's my baby. It's got over 500,000 views, so contribute more to it. I want to get to 1 million.
Absolutely. Well, I'm sure this show, will kick it off. You have 1.5 million going in there. Alex, Alex, thank you very much indeed for joining us. What a pleasure. Oh, imagine that. Imagine that, taking the time from your life to actually put all that together, and then knowing that the people that you've done it on have seen it and appreciated